What is up, guys? Today we're going to be recapping the top 15 from the Bikini Olympia. First things first, I just wanted to say that this was really one of the best Olympias I've been to, and my second one being a VIP. I really enjoyed this experience, and I definitely look forward to many years of coming to the Olympia and seeing the best of the best in the world. Um, what I hope my channel does is, maybe talk about the why someone may have placed the way they have. And obviously, I'm going to see a Tyler video come out and he's going to explain the top 5, top 6 in the Olympia. But I wanted to also highlight the ones who placed, because top 15, that's the best in the world. I mean, all these girls, top 15, I believe that can be eventually in the top 10, maybe even top 5, and possibly even win the whole thing one day. And definitely wanted to give the highlight and look at an athlete and say, okay, this is what someone's missing. This is what someone can improve on. And maybe this is why someone placed ahead of them and why they got the place. But I believe this truly, that everything that the judges decided was right. They got it right. They nailed it. I really believe that. So first, congratulations to our new Miss Olympia champion, Laura Lee Chapados. She's the 11th Bikini Olympia champion. Took her 7 years to get there, but she finally got it. And I look forward to seeing her do this for a long time. She's qualified for life as she just won the Olympia. First, we're going to go over her. Now, when I saw this was a really great front pose by her. She came in much more fuller than she did at the Arnold. Sometimes people say that, she's too skinny, too ribby, and I disagree. It's just, because she's short, she has short legs and a longer torso, and I think that's why people say that she's imbalanced. But I disagree. I mean, Laura Lee's not like any other tall girl that I've seen, like your Janets, like your Massas, like your Phoebes, where they're longer limbs, they're longer body, longer arms. Laura Lee's more long torso, short legs, and short glute insertions. So I'm going to show you this and then the Arnold. While some people say that her Arnold look was her best look, I think this was one of the best that she's brought. Very well balanced, full. I do think her delts maybe her delts were a little better here versus at the Olympia, but she wanted to do things where she hit the nail on the head, and this was her show. And I definitely think that this is something that is very strong and compatible, plus her stage presence as well. Here's her back pose. For once, her glutes are not overpowering, and that's always been an issue for her because she has shorter glute insertions. Another thing is because her range of motion is shorter because of her legs, she really doesn't go very far, versus someone who's more longer, they take more time to grow into that. And sometimes it doesn't really go to their advantage because they will look great up top and then small in their lower body. But Laura Lee's thing is, making sure she contains her lower body and downsizes everything. And I mean, obviously she hit the nail on the head. And I commend her and I congratulate her for sticking through it to all these years. All right, next up in second, we have Ashley Kay. All right. The thing with Ashley is she is great from the back, but in the front, sometimes that's where, her front pose can either hurt her or help her. And sometimes it depends on the lineup. If someone's really like strong against her and someone can outpose her in certain ways and have a better front shot than she does and kind of do enough to beat her from the back, they would overtake her. I mean, she did have a couple losses this year, and at the Olympia, she's just totally different. For the past 3 years, she's been third. She probably could have even won this show, and I don't think, and no one would ever complain if she had won. But sometimes in her front pose, you kind of just see it's not always consistent. And she said she has something with her abdominal wall. I forgot what she said, something about that. But that's why she looks like she has distension sometimes. But it's just something that's not in her control. And she can only and Ashley Kay can only do what she can when it comes to these shows. She can only do what she can bring. But overall, I'm happy for how this looks, for what she brought. Now, in her back pose, I'll be honest, I didn't really like how her hair was sitting and how her suit cut looked. Sometimes I don't know. It's an angel comp suit, and she does wear a wig sometimes, but I feel like if she kind of straightened her hair and just kind of had it cut short, like kind of like from last year, or I can just show you what she looked like back in Japan Pro. Like, I would have preferred this hair on here. It would have been so much more better. And this cut, if it was green, I know green is her signature color. I would prefer that way better than what this was brought. She does her own makeup, and yes, it's good to do your own stuff and good to do your own things. But sometimes I feel like it's much better to trust someone to do your things. But obviously, she's done this for over a decade and she's very self-mastered, so she knows what's best. But that's just me picking at certain things with her. But Ashley's always been a front runner and a great competitor and always been in the top at the Olympia. So congratulations to her. And third, we have Jazzy Gonzalez. I will say this about Jazzy. She was the star of the whole Olympia. And before anyone said, well, you didn't have her in the top 10, I didn't have her in the top 10 because she lost to Rihanna. And some of the other girls I felt like would be more challenging for her, like Jordan and Vanya. But she overtook them in this show. Her first Olympia in 2020, she qualified on points. And it was good at this time. And getting ninth at your first Olympia, and then next year she qualifies, she did not place, and then comes back another 3 years later, and then winds up getting third and winning a pro show. So I do say this, that I do feel that Jazzy's on her way to definitely be in that top spot and even win the Olympia. But I do like this hair right here. It just felt like this physique was very flat. But in the Olympia here, this is way improved. Like, going from did not place to top 3, that's like one of the biggest jumps since Angelica. In 2015, her first Olympia, she didn't place and then won a couple shows in 2016 and then took second at the Olympia. So from going from dead last call out to getting second is amazing. But for her to go to, I think she said she was in second to last call out in her second Olympia in 21, and then getting all the way to third and improving and keeping up with the criteria. This is a great look, very full physique, very streamlined, way better improvements in her upper body as well. Let me show you something right here. Here we go. Let's get a back pose of hers. This here, and then where her Olympia look was. She has much better condition, much better tie-ins. Her hamstrings are in right here. Way better in physique. And here's, let me go to Atlanta. The one she won. I do think this hair was a little better. Like I said, I'm just being picky. I do like her hair that she had at the 21 Olympia, just her natural color versus having, extensions in. And yeah, way much better here. And I definitely think she brought it. I do think, yeah, she could have her hair not cover her shoulders, especially in the front and in the back. She could just have it just behind her. But other than that, really great. And being third, she's automatically qualified for next year. So I'm very happy for her. I'm very content with how she showed up. All right. And fourth, we had Amy. So this is much better in the front. I do think that she kind of came in a little too soft, and that's kind of what hurt her. I did have her winning the whole Olympia, and if anything, I had her at least third. But how she looked with the other girls had her placed this way, so I felt like it was a good placement. And getting into the top 5 after on your third Olympia, that's great. But obviously, she's quite disappointed in how she looked, and I mean, this is just something that she's gonna take to heart, learn, and obviously get better from. But when she was walking to the back, she would look really soft. I just feel like she just, maybe it was just being nervous and having that expectations on her. I just feel like if she just came in more calmer, more level-headed, and this is, she's still new to the sport. You got to keep in mind, this is her third Olympia. She's been a pro since 2020 when she won the USA. So definitely she's learning her own. She has 12 pro wins. She's definitely going to just keep getting better. And she definitely has Miss Olympia written on her and being a great representation of the sport. I just feel like when it comes to this show, you got to just not have that high pressure, high stress on you. And it does affect your physique. And this was a great package. It's a good look. I mean, she does the straight hair. I don't mind her wavy hair that she does, but whatever she feels is best. I mean, I would go with it. But overall, I'm happy for her. I'm happy for how she placed and, being in that top four comparison. Now it's just about getting back to the Olympia next year and coming in better and, having more veteran experience in this. And I definitely think Amy's going to be in that top two spot. Next up, we had Vanya, and Vanya's had such a great year this year. So here she is right here. I mean, very well put together, very well balanced. Sometimes in the past, when Vanya's first started, like 2020, 2021, she used to be lower body dominant, and then her upper body was smaller. I mean, she's really balanced it out. Last year, her shoulders were way capped, and it was just like a little too lenient and striations in it. But this year, she came in fuller, and she came at her all-time best, getting third at the Arnold, winning the Arnold UK, and she actually just qualified in the Brazil show. So she's qualified once again, and I'm very happy for her and what she's accomplished. Getting third in Pittsburgh, I'll show you what she looked like. She was much more fuller here and much more better pumped here. She was the second one to go up, and sometimes when you're the very first or the second one to go up, it's easy to lose your pump and to get flatter easily. But way improved from Vanya. All right, let me see her in the back. I mean, this is in May and this is here in October. Way much better. And all that time and definitely shows. And she's really snatched in the back. Maybe it's just lighting, but she also brought down her leg size. But yeah, and I like how her hair looks here. She really brought it. She was in the second call out, guys. When they took the top four backstage, they brought out 9, 10, 11th. She was in that second call out, and she worked her way up into moving into that fifth place spot. So you don't quit when it's over. It's not over. You just have to keep bringing in your best and, keep smiling and just bring your all-time best look. And especially in this show, in the Olympia where it matters. And she fought her way into that fifth place spot. And, I mean, that just comes to show you. I think Phoebe Hagen was the same way in 2022. Phoebe was second call out looking like 10th and then kept working her way up. And then she got 7th place, surpassing Issa and Janet and Ramina and Jordan getting 7th at her first Olympia. So that's why you have to keep posing and just, until they say go back into line, that's when you stop. You just keep posing, keep showing up as your best. And Vanya keeps this up. She went from did not place to getting 12th to now getting 5th, top 5. That is phenomenal. Next up, Ashlyn. Here we go. So I initially had Ashlyn going at least 3rd to 5th, and I said if anything, she'll be higher than her 8th place from last year. I'm happy with how her looks. She's definitely improved a lot. And every year in, year out, she always shows that she can be a top contender. She can be a top Olympian. And she has proven that year in, year and out. I did talk with her, at Strength Culture about what her feedback was. And she said that the other girls were a little more fuller than her. And she just came in a little more fuller just by eating certain things, by just eating a little more carbs and stuff. And definitely think she could have brought her way into that top 5 spot. I know she really wanted that top 5 spot at least. And I definitely keep saying that she should keep doing what she does and she's going to keep moving up. And I definitely think she's only going to go up from here. Here's her back pose here. Very much, but be careful with your hand as well. That's something that I would have to tell her because here in Republic of Texas, much better posing. But it's just she just has to, obviously be mindful of that and not like. But her tie-ins are much better as well. I don't know. I mean, I feel as well as that she should maybe have her hair cover her back connector. That's one thing I would just kind of tell her right now. But overall, I mean, great physique, great look, and definitely well earned. In seventh, we had Maria Acosta. The moment she walked out, being the first one up, I saw her and I was like, okay, she's going to be in that first call out. But it's going to depend on how other people looked. She brought her best. I said to her at the athlete meet and greet that I feel like you got to come in like this was any other show. Don't be nervous and just bring a presentation that you're of your best. I know you're the first one up, and it's a lot of pressure being the first girl up because of your last name, but this is very well balanced physique, and definitely think that she's gonna keep in. But I mean, to be first call out and to be in that center spot, I mean, it was a lot. It meant a lot to her, and to surpass your idols that you've looked up to since you started in, I think 5 years ago. She turned pro. It's truly amazing. I think she just needs to kind of relax this arm a bit, and that's it. Let me see back pose. Definitely is bringing her self more streamlined. In the past she had thicker obliques, and she's definitely brought it in, and definitely working with Jamie. And kudos to Jamie De Bernard and what her and her team have brought. I definitely think that Maria is going to be a great top Olympian for many years to come, and maybe can be in that top 5 in spots in the future. But yeah, it's just I kind of notice with her hand sometimes she kind of like has it kind of bent because you got to get out of that where when you're doing check-ins and stuff when you're using your Bluetooth clicker just to get out of that, it kind of looks like she's in that kind of position. You know what I mean? Like just look how her hand is like. It's kind of like doing that. But comparing this from her Clash win to here, wait, hold on. Let me do that. Oh, crap. Yeah, here you go. My bad. Crap. All right, here we go. She's much more turned, and it definitely accentuates her shape better. She's more fuller in her glutes here. The back. She's definitely better with her tie-ins as well. Obviously be careful of your hands. But yeah, definitely a great look. All right, next up we have Issa. Now, Issa's been doing this for 8 years, but her front pose is something not many people can beat. Not many people can get, overtake. She is the best front pose in all of bikini right now. And when she came out, I thought, oh, wow, this is going to be great. She's just stunning and she looked good. But when she turned to the back, that's when I was like, she kind of looked a little soft. And when they kept going through the rounds, she was starting to frown because I know she was disappointed. And look, Issa's a beautiful girl. She's won the Olympia very young, and she's accomplished a lot of things at her age. But I felt like her body was just, according to her coach, her body was shutting down. I did see that video about her and how she looked a couple of days out, and then all of a sudden her body just shut down. It was just She had surgery at the beginning of this year and had to, forget about the Arnolds. And when she came out of Tampa, I was like, that look would probably be top three and even win the title. And I definitely think that she has what it takes to get the title back, just like Jen got the title back after losing it. But I feel like for now, what's best is maybe do one show a year and then do the Olympia, because she's already won everything. She has 17 pro wins, and obviously being qualified for life is something that is something she can use to her advantage. But in her back, it's just it was like really soft, and she had little skin folds from like maybe holding water. Versus here, this was really on point. Her tie-ins were in. She was full. She was really like spot on. And I don't think she should be discouraged. I know when people work very hard for this and then it doesn't go the way that they expected, but you only can do what you can. And I think people are stupid to say things like, oh, she's not her best, and oh, disappointment. It's like, you really don't know what people go through. She's still top 10 in the world. She's still never been less than ninth at the Olympia. So I don't think people should really give her any crap about that, because she's still one of the best to do it. But this Tampa look here, I think definitely would have won the Olympia, maybe even be in that top spot. I mean, she just has to come out with that confidence, like, I'm going to win this thing. When she's like that, she's unbeatable. Nobody can beat this front pose. This is the best front pose in all of bikini, hands down. I mean, even compared to Laura Lee as well. I mean, I prefer her Tampa look over Texas. Texas, she was just not quite there. It was just something was a little off on her. But it was just good enough for her to win. I don't think anybody in that Texas show was going to beat her at all. But let me compare her in Texas. Yeah, she was just a tad little softer here, but she was definitely on point, spot on conditioning right here in Tampa. And I definitely think if she had brought this similar look, it would have been in that spot to win the Olympia. But things happen. They're just things that we can control and things we cannot control. We always have bad days. All right, next up we have Jordan. Now, I've always said that I love Jordan in the pink suit that she had. That's my favorite suit, but this orange isn't bad. Not many people can do orange. I would only say you only do orange if you have darker skin and darker hair. But in person, it looks so much better. And, Gilco quality video, the orange suit looks so much better on her. It's just the lighting and pay-per-view doesn't do it much justice. But definitely a very, gifted structure that Jordan has. And that's the thing in bikini, how your genetics and how your structure is really going to carry you forward. But she's longer torso, long legs, long glute insertions. So she really has to just grow into her physique. Kind of what I said about like being a taller girl, being 5'7", she has to just grow into her whole physique and bring up her leg size. And that's it. But her shoulders are well put together. Everything's well put. She's definitely brought it from here. And then I can bring up the glass show. I do kind of feel like having this kind of a look here would have been much better. Just how she was twisting. But she definitely improves. She's getting better every year. Jordan's moving up a spot every year. So I'm happy for her. It's just in her back. She just needs to be just as tight and not be too over-conditioned, and just have her legs kind of match her glutes versus her glutes overtake her legs. And that's just going to be more time in the gym. And I definitely think she can be in that top spot. And in that 2022 Arnold, I think she was 5th behind Isa and Ashley. So that shows that she's such a strong competitor. It's difficult for many girls to even get past her. I said that if you want to be challenging, you have to go through Jordan, and that's even difficult to do. But I'm happy that she's moving up, and I definitely see a first call out within the next 1 to 2 years for her, and in those top spots. It's just she has to come in, on point with conditioning and right fullness. And this was one of the best she's ever looked. Last year, she was like this really tight. She was like almost shredded. Like if I did that, she would have had striations on her upper glutes. But this is really good. This is really good on point. I'm happy that her and Cash are working well together, and I just keep seeing them get better every year. All right. In 10th, we have Angelica. I mean, she is the former two-time Miss Olympia, two-time Arnold Classic champion. I'm happy for her, and she definitely was much better here. It was tough. I mean, coming back after I think 4 years after the 2020 Olympia and getting fourth, and then getting fourth at the Arnold and the Arnold UK. She's still one of the in the top spots. I definitely think that she still can be competitive, but I kind of wanted to see her do at least one or two shows just to get more comfortable on stage and being back again. But she always has great stage presence. And she did come in tighter in her waist. But yeah, it's just another thing. It's just like she has to be like good in the front, but not so. But she's like, it's kind of like sometimes she's hard in the front and then soft in the back. Like right here in the Arnold Classic. You can kind of see she's more softer in the back and just a little more hard in the front. And then obviously just, being back on stage. She has to just get back to getting used to it. But even though she was a little more softer, it was good enough to get her into that top spot versus being so hard and, having way over conditioned. But it was really spot on. I would love to see her do the Masters Olympia and win it and win every title. And like I said, I feel like for some people, it's hard to just peak one time a year. Like you see every Miss Olympia champion where they took the whole year off just to do the Olympia. It doesn't go very well for them. It doesn't not go. I'm not saying that Angelica, but just saying like you peak one time a year just to like be spot on versus let me do a show and let me see how I go. I mean, I feel like it's much better to do a couple, even if you qualified, or if you're qualified for life, just do at least one show to see how you look or if you're doing something right versus just let me take a huge risk on this. That's why sometimes you see some top competitors do at least 1 or 2 shows, and whether they win or lose, and if they're already qualified, they just wanted to see just to get a hang of it. All right, next up we have Allie. Now, when she came out and I was right next to Sean Hector Lewis, I was like, hey, not bad. I did not have her in my predictions. I did say last year she had qualified in the 2024 Olympia, I would have had her at least 12 to 14th. She did get second to what's her name? Ariel Barley, who was 14th last year. But this is really good. She was in the first call out. I mean, she came out with like so much energy, like she was just owning the stage. And her being one of the last ones up because of her last name. I think there's 52. She was number 47 here. She just came out like, this is my moment. This is my. We did kind of always comment on her that because she has a longer torso, sometimes she would have distension, but here she was much more tighter. This is a very pretty look on her. I mean, in this front pose is really strong, especially in the top spots. I mean, could she have been top 10? Yeah, she was in that first call out, and but it's just going to be with more experience. I definitely think she'll be in those top spots. It's just right here. Just needed to be a little more tighter, especially in the glute and tie-ins. But very well balanced physique, very well snatch physique. Just also hands as well. Keep always saying that. Just be mindful. But going from sixth place in Daytona, it was much better to do that. Like I said, it's better to due to it, at least a show, even when you're already qualified, just to see where, if you're doing something right or not, because it's better to make a mistake early versus I'm going to make this mistake at the Olympia, one of the biggest shows of the year. So when I talked to her coach, Shelby Pierce, about Daytona, she said that was on me. That was my fault. So she doesn't blame Allie. She says it's my fault as a coach, and their relationship together is really good. See, Daytona, here we go. Kind of felt like she was a little too hard here and then too soft in the back, but this is like becoming full right here and being on point. And definitely think Allie's going to be in those top spots. And like I said, I think she's going to be great for many years. And like I said, I feel like it was much better to make that mistake versus she qualified early in March and then went all the way into September for Daytona. And it was much better. And to make a mistake and to know, okay, I did something wrong. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to come in better. And that's just what's best, I feel, versus one and done. But definitely happy for Allie. She should be very happy for herself. Her coach should be very proud of her. And I can't wait to see what she can do in the next couple of years. Next up, we have Jordan Brandon at 12th. Now, this is a very good look from her. And this is one of the best I've ever seen Jordan look. And I'm very happy for her. I do see her in a couple of years in the top 10 in those top spots. But I definitely think she has that attainable look, like an Ashley Kay look, where it looks realistic to look like her. It's not too freaky. It's not like, whoa, I can't look like that. You look at her and it's like, that's attainable. Hey, I can train like that. I can look like that. All right, here's her front. Here's her back. Really great from the back. She does have short glute insertions, kind of like Ashley. So that's why I say she has an Ashley-esque physique, but she came in much fuller, much better here, and very tight in conditioning. It was much better than Sasquatch, where she just was a little soft. It was like kind of the same right here, but her Olympia look was so much better. And, and her rear delts are much better than before than I've seen in the past. Here's getting out of this one. See Legion. She just has to make sure that she doesn't come in, too vascular and just come in full. She did have a little split in her quad, which it wasn't that bad, but here it's much better, especially in front of Sandy. That is one thing that Sandy will always call about you, splits in the quads. I never forget when Jennifer Ronziti, 2017, where everything was perfect on her, but then she had quad splits, and that's why she got second to Angelica. And I definitely think Jordan Brandon's going to be in a top 10 spot within a year or two. And I'm very proud of her. I mean, her first two Olympias, she was in that third, fourth call out, and she's definitely improving it year by year. And I'm very happy for her. 13th, we have Ariana. I mean, she's a very beautiful girl. When you look at her, she's like has this like very striking physique. When she walks out, you're like, wow, who is that? She's very pretty. I don't think she should be discouraged. And I even told her this, regardless of what happens, you're still a top girl. You're still a top Olympian. She was 7th last year at her first Olympia. And when I see her, I see a Miss Bikini Olympia written on her. And she has what it takes to be a Miss Olympia winner and to be in that top spot. But I definitely think just a little more time, with her coach, James, and within a year or two, she'll be in the top spot and overtake a lot of girls. I just feel like she lost a lot of muscle mass from her previous coach and how things were going. I definitely think when she got her surgery, she should have taken that time off and recovered versus hopping into a show in May. But I definitely see her getting a qualification early and taking the much needed time to going to next year's Olympia and definitely over definitely move up some spots. It's just she looks really good in this in her waist right here. And back then I think it was, let me see, Atlantic Coast. She looked a little much more wider here, but now here's much more snatch. Now she can bring that on point conditioning that she had in the before with much improved physique, much fuller physique, much more muscle because she is a tall girl. She's definitely going to be a threat to a lot of girls. Let me see here. But I still believe that she's the most potential to become Miss Olympia. I still believe that. I stand by it. She just has to, have that right formula with her coach, and obviously working with him, they're going to do something much more better. And I look forward to 2025 and what she's going to bring. But yeah, you dropped down 6 spots, and you're out of the top 10. But I don't think that she should be discouraged, and she should just keep going. And obviously, with much more time off, she's going to come to the show and she's going to come in as that front runner to win and be undeniable. And I definitely think Ariana has a bright future in this. And she's only 29 years old, so when she's in that 30, she's going to be in that stride. So that's a perfect time for her to keep improving, especially from last year's Olympia. Let me see here in this year's. I do, like I said, if she had some of the fullness here that she had there, this would have been like, I'm thinking if those two were both in one, it would have been at least top 5. And she has what it takes because she's a very beautiful girl. And I definitely think that she's going to, obviously take this year as like a learning experience and then cherish it and go, okay, I learned something about myself. I learned what works, what doesn't work. And we're going to see what's something different we can do coming into the next year. All right. Need a water break? Next up, in 14th, we had Reina. Now, when she did Pittsburgh, she was, I think, 12th, I believe. And then she did the Dallas Pro Show and she got second, and she had a 1-point difference with Ashley Kay. Let me pull up her Olympia physique. Here we go. This is how she posed back in June. This is how she posed much better. This is so much better. But all I would say is just, kind of work on her shoulders a little bit, and then just relax this arm. But she definitely has top 10 potential. And I know some people in Mexico were counting on me like, why didn't you have her in top 10? I said, she has to have a good front pose, just as good as a Jordan, just as good as a Vanya, just as good as some of those big names. And if she has that, she definitely is going to be in that spot. When she was called out, she was right next to Isa Pacini, and I definitely have that picture up. Let me get it. So here's her next to Miss Olympia, Isa. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna zoom in here. And you have the best front pose in all of bikini. So she's definitely matching up. Like I said, just need to relax this arm a bit. But how she looks is really good. But she just has to be a consistent in her front. Her back pose, it's lights out. I definitely think if they were in a show together, it would be very strong and very comparable. Let's see. I know there's cameras behind this picture, but bear with me. It's very strong. I do say that I think that her tan needs to be a little more darker, and then her makeup in the face could be a little bit much better. It just kind of feels like but definitely strong competitor. I do like this dark purple on her. I do see other suit colors that she's worn before, This was last year. If this, I just think that this tan and how she kind of, how this physique looks here and how she poses right here, it could really change how she does versus having her shoulder back and, you know, having her shoulder go a little bit more up. That's just, that kind of did hurt her into that spot. That's why I feel like, because look what I'm doing here. Let me do this. Hold on. So like right here, she's kind of just like doing that versus like if she was right here and just more relaxed, it's so much more better. But let me see her look in the shows she won back to back. She's gradually learning. She's just gradually getting better. And I definitely think this is something that she's going to take to heart. But of all the suit colors she's worn, I do like this purple much better. It definitely stands out on her because she has lighter skin. Because she has lighter skin and how her tan absorbs. Yeah, I just wasn't a big fan of this pink, but she wore pink because she had nothing to lose because obviously she was winning back to back shows. But Reina's going to be a very good Olympian for many years to come. I mean, this back pose, nobody can beat it. I mean, she has high lat insertions, so that's another thing is how, because she's more longer and she has higher lats, it makes her width really good width up here. And going into how snatched her waist is, going into her full glutes, I definitely think that she could have been just a little less tighter than before, but she definitely brought it. And I look forward to seeing what she can do in the future. But it's just like I said, if she fixes that front pose and comes in very confident, like your eyes go to her. She's captivating. She's always smiling. And that's the thing. When you smile, everyone's eyes are going to go directly to you because that's the person that's confident in what they're going to do. The person who's not so confident, they're kind of like, grimacing, not feeling good about themselves on the stage, they may not do so well. But when she comes with that confidence in a better front pose than before and keeps improving on that, I definitely think that she's going to be in one of those top spots. And definitely going to be in the top 10 within a year or two because she has that top 10 potential and she's right now a top tier Olympian. So I look forward to that. All right. Last but not least, we have Alice Hocha. So when she came out in the Patriots Pro, I was thinking, okay, Ashley's going to win that show because it was Ashley Kay and she was defending the title. But then she won, and I said she just done the unbelievable. And I used to see her in her first couple years when she turned pro at Junior USA's, winning the overall. I used to think that if she had a good coach with the right peak, she could win a lot of shows because this girl's just well put together. She's just very gifted, very genetically gifted. I mean, her structure is just insane. Her like waist is insane. I mean, I met her in person. I'm like, wow, I mean, up close, it's just incredible what she can do. And she came into the show with no expectations that she was going to do well at all, but she performed much better than her. And I even told her, look, regardless of what happens, come into it like it's any other show that you have been in before. I think you'd at least get at least 13 to 15. She did get into that 15th place spot, and I'm definitely happy for her. It's good. It's a good, confidence boost. Like, hey, I can place. Hey, I can do better, and I'm going to be coming back much better than before. So here's her Olympia front pose. Here's what she looks like in the back. She's very, very well comparable to Rihanna because of her short glute insertions. But overall, she has the right. She just needs to find a way to keep her fullness in her glutes and to keep that muscle on because she is a taller competitor. She just has to keep that fullness the whole time and not, lose it. But definitely very well improved. I like how her arms more closer to her body here versus here was much more out. But definitely a strong showing for Alice. Let me see here. Yeah, I mean, this is really good. But I definitely think that within a year or two, she'll be in the top 10. She's very well put together, and I definitely am happy for her. But I feel like, so I'm gonna just exit out of this. I feel like the direction Bikini is going to and how they put the girls where they placed, I feel like it made sense. You kind of see where someone has a good strengths and where someone does not have something. It's just a matter of the lineup as well. And you have to always time things right, always do well with your peak, always do having your meals in, and also timing, because the more athletes there are, the less time you get on stage. So in the Olympia, you only get 45 seconds to do a routine versus when you have a regular show, you get more time. When you have a time constraint, best thing to do is at least pose in place and just show your strengths and then sign off. Because the more time you take and they say thank you, the judges are going to keep looking at you. You just got to come out with a great presentation and just show your strengths of what you're good at. And I definitely think that when you have reduced time, like 45 seconds, it gives you it makes you think, okay, I have to get to the point and just show my best. And then when I'm in that call out, you have to just keep posing, work on posing conditioning as well. That's another thing, is you're going to keep getting compared. You don't want to keep showing that you're fading. You want to keep being confident. And the more confident you are, the more better you're going to do. All right. So I talked so long, and that's my recap of the 2024 Olympia. And I look forward to doing these more. I look forward to recapping shows and talking about them more, and, obviously doing more comparisons. And I think I'll get to wellness within a couple of days, but thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.